Hey, what's up? This is Hamad Iqbal for Hamad Iqbal Photography. And today I'm going to show you another exciting technique to create vortex star trails using just a single shot of the night sky. So let's begin. Alright, here I have my single shot of the night sky. As you can see, there are lots of stars and pretty much nothing else. Now we'll get straight to it and let's take the first step, which is creating a new action. Make sure your action panel is open. Now I'm going to change this name to Vortex Star Trails. Press record. Now the second step is to duplicate your background layer simply by pressing Ctrl J. Now second step is applying free transformation by pressing Ctrl T. As you can see, the borders of the free transformation tool are active. Now, before I proceed, let me remind you that the crosshair you see in the middle, or the pivot point of transformation, it is going to determine the position of the North Star. I'm going to change my North Star position to somewhere here. And the next step is to introduce some rotation to this transformation. I'm going to use a value of 0.1 as I found this value to be neither large nor too small, and it gives a smooth result in the trails. Now, before I apply the transformation, I want to make sure that my scaling is not set to 100% because we need the tunnel effect, the vortex effect. So there has to be some difference in size over a period of time. So I'm going to change the scale value to 99.8. I know 0.2% is small, but the smaller the value, the better the results. So let's apply it. Now the last step in this action is to change your blending mode to lighten and press stop. So we have recorded all the important steps in the action that were necessary to create a vortex star trails. Now before I proceed, I'm going to delete the layer that I just created, and now I'm going to apply this action 10 times and see what happens. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. As you can see, the motion of the stars can be seen clearly, and they appear to be moving towards a point that we set as our pivot point or the North Star. Now to get a significant trail effect, we need to apply this action at least 50 times. So let's apply it 80 times. I've done it 10 times already, so I'm going to apply it 70 more times. Since it takes a while, I will fast forward the video to speed up the process. Alright, so we have applied it 80 times and you can see the effect is very prominent. Now the next important step is to export these layers as files, because we are going to use those layers and stack them together in a program called StarStax. It's a free program that can be downloaded from the link I've provided in the description of this video. So go ahead and download the software. Now how do I export these layers as files? It's pretty simple. Go to File, Scripts, and use the command export layers to files. Make sure your file type is set to PNG24 and transparency option is checked. Visible layers only option should be checked as well. So I'm going to export these layers into a new folder on my desktop. Let's create a new folder, stack, press OK, and run, and it's time to run the script. Okay. Now this could take a while, so I suggest you take a few minutes off, make yourself some tea, relax, and then come back after a few minutes. Alright, all the layers have been exported to the folder that we created, and now I'm going to open StarStax. I hope you've downloaded it already. So here I have StarStax, and now I'm going to drag all those layers that I exported from Photoshop to Start Stacks here. Close it. And let's press the Start Processing button and see what we have. Alright, that's done. Let's have a closer look at it. 1 1. That looks pretty good. Okay. Let's add a comet kind of effect to it. So I'm going to go to my preferences, blending, and check the comet mode. And let's keep the start rail's length to about this. I'm going to change the blending mode to lighten and process images again. Let's zoom in and see. Wow, that looks cool. But let me zoom in and show you. If you can notice, there are gaps in between. So you can fix that by changing the blending mode to gap filling and just reprocess the stack again. So let's do that. Just remember that the gap filling mode takes longer and it requires more memory. Alright, so let's zoom in. As you can see, lots of those gaps are filled. We could probably make the trails longer or shorter by going to the preferences and changing the length of the trails. So let's save this image file, stacked. I'm going to go back to my stacked. No, let's change it to Vortex. Yeah, that's better. Vortex, and save. So let's go back to Photoshop. Open my file, Vortex. Yep. But let me show you the Vortex variation that I did for this image. And this was the settings I used for my image here. And of course, after applying a few more adjustments in Photoshop, I was able to get this result. So let's take it a step forward, and I'm going to show you how to create these colorful ends of your start wheels. But first I'm going to change the colors of the stars to something like this. Alright, let me crop this image. I don't like the white. Now let me reduce the number of stars that are visible by just, yep. As you can see, yep, now I've got far few stars than I started with. This was the original stacked file, and this is after just changing a few things. Now I'm going to apply the colors to the end, and it's quite simple. Just make a new layer, select your paintbrush tool, change the size of your paintbrush tool to something like this. I'm going to use white color. Make sure your opacity is 100. I'm going to start applying this, just these dots here and there, just randomly. And by the way, you can increase the size of the dot, decrease the size of the dot as you like. These thicker start wheels could use the larger dots, and the smaller ones could use smaller dots. So I'm going to apply this a few more times to a few more of these trails. Okay, I think that's enough. Now the next step is pretty interesting. I'm going to make a new adjustment layer and choose the gradient option. Now it's pretty simple. All I have to do is change the gradient to one of the presets. Oh wow, it looks colorful, but don't worry. Press OK. Let's leave it linear for now and change the option to color. and make sure that you link it to your layer below. Let's change the name of this layer to trail end. I'm going to change the blending mode to something like hard light or pin light. Now if I go back to my gradients and change the gradients to any other, it changes the colors of the dots. I can experiment with any color. I can even select the noise option. It gives me far more colors. I can add transparency. I can do lots of things. If you want to add more colors, you can always repeat the same step. Apply another gradient layer on top, change it to something else. For example, apply it. Make sure it is linked, set to probably pin light, and just play with masks. So that's about it. That's how you create colors. So there you go. And let me show you the image that we started with, the reference image. That is this, and using the single shot of the stars, which was this image, we created the Vortex star trails. Well, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. And if you have any questions, you can send those to me on my Facebook page, www.facebook.com/HammadIqbalPhotography. And that's all for now. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.